Hi everyone, and welcome back to Southbridge Community Television. I'm Max Gullickson and I'm your host. And today we have John Ferrara, who is a local artist, a talented man right here in Southbridge. John, thanks for coming on my show.
Thank you.
It's good to see you.
Having me.
Now, John has a website and it's artofjohnferrara.com, and I encourage you to go visit it. And on that website, John, you describe yourself as a journeyman artist. Can you tell me what that means to you?
Well, it means that I've paid my dues.
To be an artist.
Yeah, I've worked a long time, and I have a lot of techniques that are proprietary and things like that. Yeah.
So a lifetime of knowledge that you've imparted onto your method of art.
Well, a journeyman is, a person that has learned his craft. And
sure,
that's what it's about.
Journeyman plumber, different craft.
Sure.
But and now you've been most of your life in Sturbridge and Southbridge.
Yeah, yeah.
And how you started? How early on did you realize you were an artist? And how did you get started?
When I was a kid, my aunt would cheer me up, and my mother thought I was wonderful.
She was your biggest cheerleader, the aunt. Sent you down the path of.
I always scribbled around and did a few things. Yeah.
Well, you're lucky in a way. I mean, not everyone can practice their talent and make a living at it. Now, what brought you here originally? Did you come here for work to this area?
Yes. Well, I came to Cranston Print Works, and I was interested in tapestries. And they had some technique of printing on cloth. Well, and it's called a jacquard loom. It's a kind of an IBM.
For cloth.
For cloth. And it's like a player piano roll thing, and you can program it to make a design. And in that, I met Buzz Crawford, who ran Stevens Linen. And he asked me if I'd come over and see what he could do with the linen, because their presses made a little toweling, and that's all they made. And toweling was out. They had air and they had paper towels, so that business was dead. So we finally came up with a calendar towel, which was a towel that had a calendar on it, and it would advertise a certain.
Like a vendor.
Yeah.
I've seen them, and they're like they're promotional material.
And you hang it up, and then when the year is over, you have a dish towel.
You have a dish towel to remember the.
And it went along, and that's how I came here. Yeah.
Well, that must have appealed to your artistic sensibilities right there. I mean, and then obviously at some point you moved on to more what I would call a traditional artist, because of all the portraits you've done and the drawings and so forth. Now, your website says that you do a number of different areas of interest. You have portraits, and I saw a number of them. Recently, at your event at the library, you had a nice display over there, and everybody who went had the opportunity to see a number of your portraits. You're also interested in the sea as a theme. You have interest in animals and the Orient. And you also did a book based on a novel or a book from
that's my
1915.
Claim to fame.
It's a book. So let's talk about the portraits. I saw some of the portraits, and I'm not actually an art critic. I know you may think I am, but I didn't. They seem to have kind of the emotions that were being displayed were real, and you could tell how a person was feeling in those things. Was there a reason for that, or how would you describe your portraits? What kind of?
Well, there's of course famous people. Well, let me give you an example here.
Sure.
Let me see. I don't know if you people are old enough to know who Katharine Hepburn is.
Oh, sure.
But I have
the
a
African
watercolor
queen
here of her somewhere.
Oh, there she is, right there. Right? Oh no, that's not her either.
No. Anyway, I thought I had her.
Maybe we left Katharine at home.
No, I didn't. There she is.
Oh, okay.
That's her.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And there she has, and you can clearly see that it's her. But I don't know, it's an impressionistic kind of a.
Well, that's they vary. Now here's Carl Sandburg, which
the famous poet.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. And so you must have drawn these from historical pictures?
Yeah, I did a lot of book plates. I've done a lot of composers and writers. And
I saw you had the great Charlie Chaplin on your website,
Yeah.
too. You did a drawing of
Yeah.
him also.
Yeah.
Now, you also are an aficionado of, I've seen some pictures of the Orient and geisha girls. This is something also that you're interested in.
Yes, I am.
And
yeah.
nature also, and cats, you
Yeah,
say.
they
What
have
draws you there?
Well, they have a real intuitiveness for nature. Asians, a tree or a branch or an animal or something. They a great reverence, like universalists.
I see.
Yeah.
And then you paint them because you find that interesting.
Yes.
And the same with cats, too. I mean, they have a
Yeah.
place in nature, too.
Yeah.
And you're a
Should've
fan
brought
of
a
those.
cat.
What draws you to the sea? I've seen on your webpage that you have a number of art pieces that have boats in the sea in them.
Yeah, I've spent some time at Block Island
Did you?
over the years and looking out at the sea, and it's a
Yeah, and that might have influenced
yeah.
you.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's so cool that you were able to make a living and support yourself with your art. And
Well,
again, not everyone in
one of the
can do
pleasant
that.
things is you can go anywhere in your mind. You can travel the world. You
Use your
can-
imagination.
Yeah, you could
Put it on paper.
Have the Pope there as a study. You know, you can do whatever you think you want to do.
That's neat.
And-
You have some other art here, and if you could just describe it, what some of these are for the
Yeah,
audience.
well, here's a. Let's see here. We got here is a.
Ah, that's pretty. I like the colors here. We have this is a landscape scene.
Yes.
Anywhere in New England?
Yeah.
Whereabouts? Tell me that's Westville Lake. No,
No, it's just over near over in Sturbridge. Yeah.
it looks cold.
Yeah, with the winter.
Yeah, definitely. Just like right now. Well, this one's neat. What else you have here? You have some portraits, I see.
And there's the old still life. That's a standard.
And what is this? This is a bowl
Just
and
a
a
couple
vase.
of bowls. Yeah.
It's kind of minimal. I mean, you have. It's a different style altogether, though, John.
Yeah,
it's
I have
not
a lot of
portrait at
different
all.
styles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
One of the things that, and this is a. No,
this
very
one's different.
stylistic.
Very neat looking. This is almost like, I don't know, Cubist, is that right?
Yeah.
The Dadaism
Yeah.
from that era of art history? I remember that from college.
And this particular one is a person, F. Scott Fitzgerald's daughter, Scotty, which Letters to Scotty. It's a book of F. Scott Fitzgerald's letters to his daughter.
Oh, I never read
found
it.
Very impressive, yeah.
No, I never. I'm familiar with him and The Great Gatsby and
Yeah.
Franny and Zoe, but they capture a lot of emotion in her face, John. I mean, her eyes are the wind of the soul here, and you can kind of see her mood a little bit. There's one.
And this is kind of provoking. Not provoking, but the human condition in a portrait it really mirrors the human condition. You can't get, I don't think there's any other subject material for the human condition than the face. You look at the, you know.
And this is what you're trying to get with your
Yes,
portraits.
yeah,
You're trying to capture how they're feeling.
Right.
I think you have the idea here. She looks pensive to me.
Yeah. Now here is a mother and child. I've done hundreds of them.
Sure.
And this is one that is, and of course, it's the mother that I'm interested here. Okay. So
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So we just leave the kid as a nondescript.
The kid's there, but there's nothing going on because his face is terrific.
And this is one that's in progress. And it's a mother and child. And that also is concentrated on the mother.
It's the mom's face we want, and her
Yeah.
love and care
Yeah.
for the child.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, but you captured it pretty well there.
Yeah. And the other thing I did, and it was kind of an economic thing, is I did all the baseball players up till 1950 in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, really?
Portraits. Yeah.
And you were able to do that for commercial reasons?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And yeah, it seems like a long time and a short time I've been at it. And
Who is Edgar Lee Masters? And,
Edgar Lee Masters.
What about your new volume, The Spoon River Portraits, and how did that come about?
Well, I had a friend that was a school teacher, social study teacher over at Tantascwa, and he and I became friends. And he brought me over a book, and he said, "You ought to read this thing." And it's a collection of epitaphs from a small imaginary town in Illinois. And what people and who they are. And you'll find yourself in that book, reading those. Everyone will find themselves in it. And so I did it in 1970. And I sold all the drawings, and he didn't allow me to reproduce them. So in 1980, I did it again. And this time I was able to...
You passed muster the second time through.
Yeah.
And the artist, the original artist, was still living at that point, and he was able to...
He was an interesting guy. He was law partner to the guy that did the trial there, the monkey trial.
Oh, Scopes?
Yeah.
Oh, he was a lawyer?
No, I'm sorry. It was the...
Darrow, I think. Or,
Clarence Darrow.
Yeah, he was the other one.
Darrow, yes. And he had a successful law practice, and he wrote a definitive thing on Lincoln, and then that was the most successful piece of literature in this time, economically.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, yeah, many different languages it was reproduced. Oh. And it's been done, I and a gal named Kelly, Linda Kelly, she would pantomime the thing. She would do both men and women in prose and in stand-up. And I would show my pictures, and we've done it all over New England. We did Boston Library, which was a big deal. And so it was quite a thing. And Dylan Thomas did Under Milkwood, which was he was talking about people in their graves and epitaphs. And so it really was is a profound piece of work. And no one ever illustrated. And I said, geez, well, this is an opportunity.
You read it and you just saw the pictures in your mind. That's terrific. And then because of that, you were able to produce your own book.
Yeah, it set some limitations, like straight on, no props, no symbols in the background or anything. And see if you can convey. And it was always like a married couple were divorced and they're talking to each other in this epitaph. And there was an old guy.
You had to get all that in a portrait.
Yeah. It's a heavy piece of work. I mean, this is not, there's some funny things in there.
There's a lot of human emotion to convey.
Yeah. There's one epitaph in there where there's a Chinese boy and he's on a train. And he gets a train accident and he's put into a cemetery of Christians, and he's speaking, no one ever accepted him, and now he's with the group now.
Wow.
Yeah,
and you've got to get all that with no words.
Yeah. And, and they're short, they're a paragraph or two, and so that, and it's what they call free verse, which is a form of poetry that doesn't rhyme or anything. It's just out there, and
they relax the.
And now free verse is what everyone writes. And he was one of the first. Yeah.
Oh wow! And he was writing at that. Well, that's interesting, and it's kind of cool that you.
The other interesting thing is
memorialized him with that.
He treated women very well in his epitaphs. In other words, he understood women. He didn't. You take 1924 when it was published, and he wrote it in turn of the century. You would think that they would have some very biased opinions about.
Well, you remember James Thurber?
Yeah.
I mean, he famously did not understand women.
Yeah.
And he was from around the same time, so I guess it would have been a rare thing for Mr. Master, Attorney Masters, to empathize with women.
Yeah. I've done posters, a lot of posters, all of Shakespeare's plays. And I did Decameron, Boccaccio's Decameron, posters, and Dante's
Dante's Inferno?
human comedy, yeah. And the other couple of other things, but
How many hundreds?
100,000 works.
Really?
Yeah.
You've just worked nonstop for a long, long time.
Well, yeah, but a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we saw you over
and
the
a lot
winter.
of mistakes. Oh, terrible.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes with art, the mistakes are.
A lot of junk. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
A
you
lot
know, if you
of
have that much
things,
volume,
yeah.
then I guess you,
Yeah.
you know. Well, John, this is great. I mean, and you're right here in Southbridge. I mean, you know, we on this show we try to highlight people that have a positive, you know, hobby or job or something right here or interesting right here in our town. I think you fit the bill. You still quite active?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
You plan on retiring?
every day? Every day. Yeah.
Yeah. Every day
Yeah.
you work. Yeah.
I'm going to do an exhibit at 12 Crane.
You are.
Yeah, sometime in March in the Southbridge room, which is a reception room there for weddings and stuff, and we're going to have an ongoing gallery there.
Terrific. How long
Yeah.
will that run for?
Well, it'll run for the month. I believe it'll be half of March and half of April. And,
So the middle of March
and then
or so.
other contributing artists will be there.
They're also going to have, there will be different artists there as
Yeah,
well. So
yeah.
anybody who wants to go and get a full plate of art, they can, well, you have different kind of forms that you use, but there will also be other ones
Yeah.
coming and going. Will you be changing it up during the show? Will you be bringing new ones in and taking other
Yeah.
ones out?
There is an exhibit in there now, but it's just to decorate the room and to give it, but it's an interesting one. And I and an associate of mine collaborated on, we took an organ pipes out of the Quabbin Reservoir Church in South Dana. We didn't take it out, but it was up in the mill at A&M. And now it resides over at 12 Crane, and it's a sculpture. And yeah, and that was an interesting project.
Are you also a sculptor?
Yes,
Ah.
yes, oh yeah,
All these forms.
yeah,
Well, that's good stuff. I mean, and right here in town.
yeah. I've been for a long
And not planning on leaving, are you? You're not going to New York anytime soon?
No.
You're comfortable up there on Durfee
No, I
Street
was in
doing
New
your work?
York for a short period of time, and I would try my hand at stage design. And I worked at the off-Broadway three-penny opera for a long time, and I had a little brush and a paint, and I could never get into Union. The Union was a very closed thing, so Pratt Institute had an opening. I had the GI Bill, and I went there.
So off you went.
Yeah,
Terrific, terrific.
yeah.
Well, folks, this is John Ferrara, and he's a local artist. He's a Southbridge artist, well, for a short period in Sturbridge, but mostly Southbridge. And he is a continuing to work artist. You don't seem like the retiring type to me.
No, not at all.
And we also have an upcoming exhibit around the middle of March at 12 Crane Street. And there will be various types of art that he will provide, and there are other artists coming in also. So if you want to get your art groove on, you just go on over there to 12 Crane Street. Maybe you'll run into the artist yourself. People are able to buy prints there, maybe? You have prints for sale there?
Yes, yeah.
So you can even pick up a print, and maybe if the artist is there, he might even sign it for you. And that's something to look forward to. And as well, if you want to become more informed on the different kinds of art that John does, artofjohnferrara.com is his website. And you can go there and check it out and get fully informed, and then head on over to 12 Crane Street and see them in person, and the bright, vivid colors that we're seeing right here in the studio. John, thanks for coming on. It was real interesting talking to you. Keep up the good work. It looks really good, and I'm just so happy that you're living in town here. Folks, thanks for watching. We will see you next time on Southbridge Community Television. Thanks again. Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Okay.
I like this one here.